I want you to hear from me first. I'm going on offense against Donald Trump, and I just put senior Trump officials on notice. Donald Trump once again is trying to weaponize the Department of Justice to go after his enemies list. That's me, Adam Schiff, Tish James, and Lisa Cook. But I'm not having it.
No, you're not having it. What are you having? What are you having, Eric Swalwell? Can we get you something? Crazy. He is running for governor, is he not? Yes, he is. Fang's boyfriend running for governor in California. But he's upset. He has just sent a strongly worded letter to Susie Wiles. We should talk about that. Welcome to the Chris Plant Show. Mike Opelka in for my friend Chris Plant. We are really close. If you squint real hard, you can see 2026 from here. We do have today and tomorrow, and then suddenly it'll be a brand new year. And are you ready for it? Today in the what the heck is this day calendar is apparently National Bacon Day and the Festival of Enormous Changes at the Last Minute Day, which I didn't know was a thing, but I understand it because if you've worked in any kind of live venue, whether it's radio or television or anything with a really tight deadline, enormous changes at the last minute are standard operating procedure. But today is National Planning Your Resolutions Day. And since I never do resolve anything other than to continue trying to be a good citizen of this great country, this great republic, I don't make resolutions. Just try and live a good life. I know everybody says, well, you got to have some goals, things you're going to do. Yes, okay, fine. I want to get another hole-in-one in golf, and I want to break 80 again. That's my target for this year, okay? You be you and do your own. But today's the day you're supposed to plan your resolutions so they just won't sound like you came up with them at the last minute when everybody's sitting around the dinner table on New Year's Eve going, so what's your resolution? No, I'm not going there. We have a lot to get to today, and you're welcome to join us, 888-630-9625, 888-630-9625. The Somali fraud story happening in Fraudistan, otherwise known as Minnesota, the state that changed its state flag to look more like the flag of Somali than anything else. That is just amazing to me that nobody picked up on that. That story is continuing to grow, but it's also continuing to unfold and show us that the roots of the story go back 10 years. It is incredible how long the people of the state and maybe the people at the top of the state have known that this was going on, that the grifters have been in place and taking money out of the pockets of the taxpayers like you and me for years and years and years. And even in the case of the Quality Leering Center, should have been learning they don't have any spell check at their sign makers. But that center has been investigated more than a dozen times by Minnesota's own Department of Human Services. More than a dozen times, hit with 95 violations. That's the one the guy walked up, the gentleman walked up, Craig Shirley walked up, knocked on the door and said, hey, we'd like to see the children. There weren't any children. Well, the story's been floating out there for a long, long time. Check it out.
I started by visiting Quality Learning Center Daycare. So it is that 14B. Which sits right in the heart of downtown Minneapolis. Between 2019 and 2023, the Minnesota Department of Human Services found 95 violations at this location.
Only 95. They just found it's one child care center, only 95 violations. They've been looking at them since 2019.
They range from failure to keep hazardous items away from children to no records for 16 children, which include things like immunizations, emergency contacts, and medical needs. So state investigators placed Quality Learning Center on a conditional license in 2022. I went to the daycare's location several times, and only once did I see people there.
Oh, that's your daycare.
But I did not see any children.
So there are 80 kids in there?
No.
After school? Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you.
DHS declined an interview, but in a statement acknowledged Quality Learning Center was put on a conditional license because of its poor safety record. But it still received nearly $8 million in taxpayers' money since 2019.
$8 million since 2019, and they were on a conditional license. I'm sorry, $8 million since 2019? Well, you know, they really shouldn't be on a conditional license if there are no children there. Is there really any danger to the children? I mean, let's be honest. If you want to say, hey, there are no kids here, the kids aren't in any danger. What's the big deal? Just sign the damn check.
Its conditional status removed in 2024.
In 2024, they removed the conditional status. And then you go ahead to what we learned last week with Mr. Shirley, and that there aren't any kids there. Stunning revelations. And yet there's more to the story as we now see. The place was closed, or was it? And then it's opened, or was it? I do know that CNN and MS-13 now are still not covering this unless they're saying that this is scapegoating. This is scapegoating. But is it open or closed? You have to wonder. At least one of the local media reporters, Lou Ragoose, who is a local guy there in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, is covering this.
Everyone seems to be talking about the viral video by YouTuber Nick Shirley visiting Somali-run daycares in Minnesota that receive millions in taxpayer money and showing a lack of kids present. Well, I have a strange twist for you. The daycare that's getting the most attention from Shirley's video is the Quality Learning Center, misspelled as Quality Luring Center. While answering questions today, the state commissioner in charge of licensing daycares claimed that the Quality Learning Center permanently closed 1 week ago, which would have been before Shirley filmed his video.
So according to the person who oversees these kinds of operations, that center was permanently closed. Okay, well, maybe then Nick Shirley, I always get his first name wrong, Nick Shirley got the story wrong. Maybe he went to a closed location. We know now that the photo showing the Quality Learning Center, the phone number is no longer working. But the state's telling us, whoa, that's closed. Okay, so case closed, right? Nope.
Listen.
I will share that our team was notified that Quality Learning Center closed just over a week ago. And I believe the details that were given at that time were around space concerns. And that's what was shared.
So space concerns, I guess they didn't have enough room for all the invisible children that were reported to be there, up to 100 kids. And they were being paid over $1 million a year in your money and my money. But wait.
But after that press conference, we went back to the Quality Learning Center, and vans were dropping off dozens of children. Parents and a manager told us the daycare is open and is legitimate. We saw state inspectors leaving, and we hope to find out by the end of the week if they made any new findings.
Lou Ragoose, everybody, has actually done what MSNBC, MS-13 Now, CNN will not do, and actually follow up on the story. It is really jaw-dropping what's been found. And now we're starting to see that this is not just Minnesota, Maine, Ohio. God knows how many other cities in the country have the Somali communities. What really bothers me, though, in all of this is that the mayor of Minneapolis, a guy named Jacob Fry, this is how he addresses the people of his city. This is Minneapolis mayor, elected mayor Jacob Fry, speaking about this controversy.
Maaga Egawa Jacob Fry, Doke Magalada, Minneapolis. Damaan, Shaabka Somaliyed, Yamid, Mogadishu, Garowe, Hargeisa, Bosaso, Bedabo, Kismayo, Wahan Rabah, in An Idin Shego.
Did he say kiss my what? Kiss my something like that. I'm not sure what he said. This is the mayor of Minneapolis making a statement, and the first, well, let me go through it here because he goes through at least a minute of this not speaking English at all.
Ana Idin Rejeneya.
Okay.
Inad Orti Fian La Kadatan Dadkina Ad J Shahin.
Something, I think he said Gene Shaheen. Is he talking about Gene Shaheen? And that was the first minute and 9 seconds of his public statement yesterday. If you're an English-speaking resident of the city of Minneapolis, you had to wait a minute and 10 seconds before you heard the mayor speak to you in English.
My name is Jacob Fry, mayor of Minneapolis, and I want to speak directly to the Somali community.
Well, Mayor, you're the mayor of all the people. You should be speaking to all the people of your city.
Whether you come from Mogadishu, Garowe, Hargeisa, Bosaso, Medoa, or Kismayo, Minneapolis.
Oh, Kismayo. He didn't say something nasty. He said Kismayo. That must be a city. Got it. Okay, you understand the map.
Minneapolis is your city. You are a vital part of the fabric that makes our city strong, diverse, and united.
And you're stealing billions of dollars of tax money, apparently.
No matter what policies may be introduced by President Donald Trump, Minneapolis stands with you and values who you are and what you bring to our city.
I wonder if all of Minneapolis agrees with the mayor. I wonder if all the people of Minneapolis are on board with this. Your city has become a laughingstock of the country, and also maybe the flashpoint of anger that stands up and says, no, we're tired of giving our hard-earned tax dollars to the government only to have it handed over to grifters who aren't working for it, who don't want to assimilate, who aren't believing in the American dream. They're only here to destroy us, to slowly bleed us dry. I wonder if all of the city of Minneapolis would be willing to take that vote.
I wish you all Eid Mubarak, and I hope you have a wonderful time with your loved ones.
Eid Mubarak. I guess that's a Somali holiday coming up. They'll be burning American dollars to stay warm in the cold Minnesota weather.
Donald Trump's justification for the travel ban hinges on one Egyptian national who allowed his hatred for Netanyahu's actions to spill over into violence against innocent Jewish people in Colorado.
That's not the whole thing, but you go ahead and demonize the president. But continue.
That logic is dangerous. Holding entire nations accountable for the actions of a few individuals is the very same fallacy.
Well, we do have more than 6 Somalis who've already been convicted in the previous investigations into the fraudistan raping of the economy in your city, Mayor. But you continue on. It's really infuriating to me. But the people of Minnesota keep electing these folks. It's one of those crazy things. The phones are open. I should grab a call or two here. 888-630-9625, 888-630-9625. A question from George in Chicago, listening on the Great WLS. Hello, George.
Hi, how's it going, Mike?
Good.
Good question is, I'm very new to what's going on with this whole Somali daycare, but what the little bit that I've read is this already has been taken care of. There's like over 50 people in jail. People have been prosecuted, charged, and jailed since 2019 because this story seems to make it appear as this is new and nobody has been caught or anything. People have been caught. They prosecuted over 50-some people from what I read.
80-some people, George, 80-some people were charged. More than 60 have now been convicted on this. But here's my question. So you think it's over? You think all those operations that Nick Shirley visited that were daycare centers with no children, that are receiving millions of dollars a year, but they don't have any children in them? You think there's nothing that should be investigated there?
Well, but the story makes it seem as if this is brand new.
No, it's ongoing. No, George, whether it's brand new or not doesn't mean anything. It's ongoing. The grift continues. The money is still being stolen. It's daycare centers. It's fake transportation centers. It's fake autism care centers. It's fake healthcare centers. It is not just Minneapolis. It's Ohio. It's Maine. God knows how many other places. Should we stop giving out traffic tickets just because one speeder has been caught? George, your logic fails on this. It's a story that needs to be fully investigated. And there are whistleblowers. There are more than 400 whistleblowers who came forward and said they were basically shunned and bullied and told to shut up. This is the tip of the iceberg, George. I think you're missing this. I do, but I got to take a break. Thank you for at least raising the point. But just because we caught one cockroach doesn't mean we don't have a cockroach problem. We got to clean up the kitchen and make sure we're not allowing the pests to return. It's Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant on The Chris Plant Show. It is The Chris Plant Show. Mike Opelka in for my friend Chris Plant, trying to get to everything, all the news stories of the day. And this Somali one dominated the first 20 or so minutes of this hour, so we'll try and keep you up to date without obsessing about it. And the phones have been absolutely loaded. So let's grab one more call while we can. Judy is in Lamont, Illinois. Judy, are you listening on the great WLS?
I'm listening on the great WLS, yes, Mike, and I'm listening on whatever channel you were in Florida when I visited down in Florida back in May. So I wanted to give you a quick call since I'm able to listen here a little bit this week and just say Happy New Year, keep it light. It's been a rough 20 minutes already for you, so I have a lot. I could say a lot, but right now it's like I don't know if you need anything more. It's been, a great year, hopefully for everybody, and just blessings to you and your team. And I just enjoyed listening to you for a couple of days here while I could be off of work and catch you. So I'm here, there, and everywhere. And if you get Eduardo from Miami, Eduardo used to be from Midway up here with me and call into the show, and I heard him on you. I heard him on Bill Cunningham. So if you get Eduardo again, ask what he does. I'm very confused as like what he does all day because he's all over the place, but he's a good guy and enjoy hearing him, but enjoy hearing your show and hearing you up here on the great WLS. Yes.
Well, thank you, Judy. That's very kind. I will make a note of Eduardo and we will grill him like a cheese sandwich should he call in. Although I am confused. You're in Illinois during the winter and Florida, the rest of it we might need to talk about that. You may have it inverted. It's Opelka in for Plant on the Chris Plant Show. Happy New Year. It is the Chris Plant Show. Mike Opelka in for my friend Chris Plant. How are you? I'm feeling pretty good today. This second to the last day of 2025. Remarkable year. I was in Washington, D.C., hanging out at the home base of the Chris Plant Show at the WMAL studios and doing a radio show in another city, but getting ready to go to the inauguration of President Trump when D.C. got hit with some very nasty weather. And we didn't get to attend the inauguration as planned. I still have my tickets somewhere. I got a whole pile of inauguration memorabilia that I kept from both Trump inaugurations. And tickets to both. It's kind of weird, and with a one-term separation between them as we had to endure the Biden administration. Also have my D.C. area Metro cards that are Trump Metro cards. I don't know if you collect stuff like that, but I have a little political museum, and I will look back at 2025 fondly and see the return of common sense to the White House. And that's honestly what I tell people when they say, why Trump? Why? Because I am surrounded by liberal neighbors who don't get it, who completely misunderstand what President Trump's trying to do. And I keep telling them, all you got to do is read Scott Jennings' book. Scott Jennings' book about common sense and Donald Trump's return to the presidency is something that if you're looking for, if you got a break, if you got a couple of days off as the new year is starting, you might want to pick up the book by Scott Jennings. I don't know Scott. I just know his work. I've read his work. And this book, you pick it up and it reads in a couple of days, and you'll go, oh, my goodness. Yes, I get it. And I think that's also why the Scott Jennings star is on the rise. I think it's also why he is starting to make serious inroads in all forms of broadcasting. And I'm hoping that he'll continue to do this because I think he brings good clarity, but he also brings sarcasm to situations over at CNN that regularly need sarcasm brought to them, as well as the facts. Because when you argue with facts, it's almost impossible for people to stand up. And Scott Jennings is, I said this earlier, I think I may have said it yesterday. I think Scott Jennings is my rising media star of the year. I think a lot of people see Scott Jennings, especially over at CNN. They see him as a threat. They're like, how dare you? But he brings it correct. He brings the facts correct. And he's one of the guys that I believe the CNN people keep thinking, oh, we'll get him this time. We'll get him this time. This was another one of those watershed moments at CNN. Scott Jennings is, I think, bringing common sense and sensibility to the discussion about the fraud in Minnesota, in Fraudistan. And he, Scott Jennings, regularly goes toe-to-toe with Abby Phillip on CNN, and I think he always ends up winning. Here's a little bit of the most recent.
This idea that nothing is being done, that no one is being held accountable, that this was just let to run rampant is completely false.
Now, Abby Phillip bringing up what we heard from George out of Chicago recently, who basically said, we've done this, we've covered this. This fraud has already been dealt with, and to which I brought the argument, well, just because we caught one speeder doesn't mean that all the speeding has stopped and we should stop giving out tickets. You can make the same argument for any kind of crime. But Scott Jennings had his take.
Well, some people have been held accountable, but I think in the opinion of most Republicans, not nearly enough. And truthfully, until somebody in a position of power, until somebody in a position in Minnesota, elected position, who was in charge of administering this or having some oversight over it goes to jail, it's honestly never going to stop. Look what's going on in blue states across the country. $9 billion in Minnesota, $70 billion in fraud in California, cooking the crime stats in Washington, D.C. When is someone in a position of power going to go to jail for the rampant fraud?
Hold on a second.
You can put all the low-level people in jail you want, but until somebody in charge goes to jail, it won't stop.
Now, you notice the default position of CNN is to say, but Trump, 9 million in a little state like Minnesota, 9 billion in Minnesota, 70 billion in California. The crime stats that were messed with in the District of Columbia, all of the obfuscation, unless and until somebody goes to jail on the top level, and unless you see a resignation of somebody like Walz, the governor,
this daycare right here,
lady. You're not going to see people being happy about this. You're not going to see people stop asking questions. It needs to be dealt with. And I'm hoping it would be dealt with soon. The FBI kind of went silent. The DOJ kind of went silent over the last couple of days. I know we saw pictures of boxes being carried out of one of these centers, but I want to see people perp walked, handcuffed, taken out. Then and only then will I smile. Am I wrong on this? Are you okay with this going on? Is it just business as usual? At what point do we, the people, say enough is enough? I know there are people actually saying it's $1 billion here, it's $1 billion there. Oh, really? $9 billion in Minnesota is a big stinking deal. $9 billion. $9 billion in that tiny state basically from one community. It's beyond disgusting. It's sickening. Especially from the people who are constantly telling us, as we said yesterday with Nancy Pelosi, saying, it's the children. It's the children. And if you really think it's only Minnesota with the Somali community, it does appear that Ohio is next. Ohio's been running its own scam tied to the EBT, to the SNAP benefits.
Oh, yeah. The Somalians have it figured out in Columbus. I went to the Walmart on Georgesville to see if I could see people filling their carts or just kind of see what I could see. It's not the way they do it. They've got it figured out way better than that. Every single Somali restaurant has a grocery store right next door or within eyeshot of the restaurant. The specific one I went into today had it attached to the restaurant. And wow, what an adventure that was. Stay tuned for more on that.
So what's going on is there are restaurants that are set up next to small convenience-type stores, which then are taking SNAP benefits, the EBT cards, food stamps, basically, and they are allowing people to purchase food from the store with government funds. That food then gets delivered to the restaurants, which are, well, selling the food that was bought with your money. That's just one of the scams that's going on. And that's in Ohio. And it's happening all around the country. I do believe that we, the people, need to get really angry about this and stand up on this. And I'm hoping that some of the elected officials in Minnesota, Tom Emmer comes to mind, the whip in the House, Tom Emmer comes to mind. I'm hoping that his words that we heard on Fox will ring true with somebody after the break, after they all come back.
I do, but here's the difference. In Minnesota, this has been going on for years. I told you, we've known about the daycare fraud for the past decade. We've been trying to sound the alarm on the rest of the fraud for the last 3 years, and it wasn't until President Trump, who I'm very grateful for him actually saying something about it, made this a national story that people started paying attention. And here's the difference. Minnesota, it's apparently a business. Whistleblowers are coming forward, and if they are real, Mike, and if what they're saying can be documented, and what they're saying is they told Tim Walz, they told Keith Ellison about the fraud when it was happening, and they not only didn't do anything, they retaliated against them. Mike, if that's true, if that can be documented, these guys need to be prosecuted, held accountable, and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And the other difference here is the taxpayer dollars in Minnesota, billions, were being shipped overseas to a known terrorist group, Al-Shabaab, back in Somalia. So
we need proof of all of this, but we need action on it. It's enough to be outraged by it, but unless and until, again, we have perp walks, we have prosecutions. All it's going to do is get people like me ramped up. But again, it's in Fraudistan right there in Minneapolis, St. Paul. It's in Ohio. The Ohio attorney, Mehek Cook, has been talking about this. The Ohio attorney found massive fraud in that state. Apparently another hotbed, and this one is the fake home health.
So these individuals tried to report the fraud that was happening in Ohio, and then eventually came to me to say that we're watching providers rubber stamp paperwork for home health. So in Ohio, and there's many states like this, Pennsylvania and other states too, where you can go in and you can say my aging parent needs a home health care and I want to provide it. So the state will, as long as a doctor has approved it, continue to pay you. It could be for 10 hours, 12 hours, up to 24 when it's critical care, So you could sit at home without caring for an elderly parent who really doesn't need it, make about $75,000 to $90,000 a year. Now you add two parents, that's $180,000. Now you add your in-laws, $250,000. You continue to add this, and you wonder, what are the services being provided? So a lot of providers came and said, fraud is occurring because we said we weren't going to rubber stamp this paperwork, so they went to other providers.
So if nothing is done, it will just continue. That's Ohio. And we know it's Ohio, Maine, and Minnesota, Fraudistan right now. Something's got to give. People are better not stand for this. But if you keep electing these people, then you only have yourselves to blame. You know what? I need something a little lighter here. And when I think lighter, I go right to the absolute crazies of all crazy. And that means Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton from MS-13 Now, he's all happy. He's happy because a snowplow has been renamed in the city of Chicago. Every year, Chicagoans vote to name a new snowplow, to come up with a snowplow name. And I would like to see the data on the voting on the name. I really would like to see the data on this because the name apparently that won the balloting, well, let's hear it from Reverend Al himself.
The Windy City is known for its fierce winters. I've been there. And just like every year, you've petitioned Chicagoans for a new snowplow name. You yourself have backed a nominee, quote, Abolish ICE. It's funny and it's clever. What are citizens saying both about naming the plow and about ICE's actions in the city?
First of all, funny and clever are, they're like the truth with Al Sharpton. He's never really had a relationship with funny and clever, just things that have avoided him all his life. He's asking Mayor Johnson about this. Apparently, I don't know if the vote's gone through yet. Let's hear what the mayor had to say.
There are only two other entities that have a larger budget than ICE. It's the United States military and it's China's military. And he has used it as a privatized force to enact terror and not just terror, but a great deal of harm against people.
Harm, terror. Interesting choice of words, Mayor Johnson. Or maybe ask some of the people in the communities where Tren de Aragua has been forced out. Maybe ask some of the people in the communities where the kids can now walk the streets, the women feel safer, the citizens of your city feel safer. No, you're more focused on protecting people that are in the Windy City illegally. More from Mayor Johnson.
Over the course of several years in this city, we have stood firm on our values, and it just happened to coincide with the time in which we name all of our fleet utilities. And of course, we have to take a stronger look at how this administration has used ICE and how it has caused tremendous harm. So that's why that particular name of this truck being named Abolish ICE has my full and complete endorsement.
I hope it doesn't get any votes. I really hope that the people of Chicago come up with a better name for the snowplow. I guess the voting is ongoing, but I'll do a little research during the break. I suggest something else, maybe something related to the successful sports teams of Chicago. I don't know. There might be a football team in the area that maybe deserves a little bit of credit, winning the division for the first time in God knows how long. Maybe just put bear down across. Abolish ICE. Killing me. It's Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant on the Chris Plant Show. Welcome back to the Chris Plant Show. Mike Opelka in for my friend Chris Plant. We're just talking about the city of Chicago and the contest to name the snowplow. Been doing this for years now with some very clever names that have already been assigned to some of the plows. And I have to tell you, my old brothers and sisters in the city of Chicago have not disappointed. Of course, way back in the early days, Mrs. O'Leary's Plow, that's a great one. Da Plow for the Bears, of course. Salter Payton for the great Sweetness, Walter Payton. Sears Plower. Sleet Home Chicago, very good. Holy Plow, in homage to late broadcaster Harry Carey. And then there's a couple I don't really appreciate, but Control Salt Delete is pretty good. Ernie Snowbanks, yeah, that's good. Bad Leroy Plow, Bozo the Plown, My Kind of Plow, Snower Whacker for lower whacker draw. I like it. Scoop, there it is. I could have done without, and Bean there plowed that. Very good, but I can't be on board with Abolish ICE. I'm hoping people will be better and come up with some new names. I'm going to work on it too. You're welcome to share one as well. The number, of course, 888-630-9625. Let's check in with Victor in Silver Spring, Maryland. Hello, Victor.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, brother. Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you, too.
Thank you.
I remember a neighbor having a cow. She came over when Trump was running for the first time in 2016, and I showed her a pen with Trump's head on it, and you push the head, and Trump will say, "I will make Mexico pay for the wall," and other sayings. She absolutely had a cow.
Oh,
and,
wait, this is a pen.
I said, I'm going to make a prediction. I bet you he's going to win. And he did win, and she was very unhappy.
Yeah, you're saying a pen, right? A writing instrument that had Trump's head on the top?
Yeah.
Do you still have it? Are the batteries still good?
Yes, it's somewhere in the house. I don't know where my late fiance put it.
You should find it. You should find it and see if the batteries still work or we could hear. Because I think I may have one of those in my little political museum as well. That's pretty funny, Victor. Yeah, the driving of the Trump derangement syndrome victims crazy is good fun. My wife doesn't always appreciate it when I partake in it, but what can you say? We're trying to have a little bit of fun with them, and why not? Why not? All right, before we get out of here, thank you, Victor. If you pray, and why wouldn't you? Maybe include a prayer today for conservative commentator Victor Davis Hanson. He's dealing with a serious health issue and needs prayers for himself and, frankly, for his surgical team. God bless you, sir. It's Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant on The Chris Plant Show.